Hello everyone, welcome to Talkshala. This is the third episode of Talkshala. It is an initiative by the Industry Linkage Club, Department of Management, BITS Pilani campus. So in this podcast, we talk to a lot of faculty members, we talk to students and industry experts from all domain. This is Neerja Rajiv, your host for this third episode. Today we have Professor Jayashree Mahesh with us. Welcome ma'am, welcome to the show. So ma'am, you specialize in the field of HR and organizational behavior. Could you give us a brief, how did you enter into this domain and education sector?
So, first of all, good morning, and I would like to put on record my sincere appreciation to the Industry Linkage Club for organizing this podcast. It is a very, very nice endeavor that you've taken to connect all the stakeholders of education, namely the students, faculty, and the industry experts. So, I wish this entire endeavor the very best of luck. So, coming to my background and what I do, I have a PhD in the area of human resource management, and I've been teaching courses related to human resource management, organizational behavior, communication, leadership in BITS Pilani for over 18 years now. My professional choices and education was greatly influenced by my parents, whom I consider to be my role model. So my mother was a principal of a school, and my father rose up from being a labor officer to a general manager of HR where he retired. And in the growing up years, the discussions at home used to be about management, people issues, the organization and all of that. And this greatly intrigued and fascinated me. So somewhere at that point of mind, I used to think if at all I choose a career, I would choose a career which would probably have an impact and influence on people. At that point of time, of course, I wasn't thinking of a career in academia, but later on it so happened that I had to get into academia. So, and over the years, as you see that I have gained certifications in MBTI, which is a personality assessment tool. I have a certification in Belbin Team Roles, which is a team efficacy tool. And I've also done my certification in leadership from the Oxford University. So all of these are related to the core area of HRM and where I see to it that, the work that I do in some way impacts people and students.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. That was a very inspiring answer. So, ma'am, as you said, you already had an inclination towards HRM. When did it exactly, when was that point in your life when you thought, this is the time I should actually pursue it as a full-time career?
So when I completed my education, my specialization was at that point of time in accounting, and I had a graduate degree in computer science. As in 1990s, when the IT boom was at top, I landed a job where I had to do a software development job. I was coding a payroll system for a reputed retail organization. That somehow did not even ignite any passion in me. Later on, when I had to train the employees for the usage of the system, that is when I realized that what really motivates me was working with people, empowering them and training them. And after that, there was a huge career break for personal reasons. Then I started, when it came to BITS, enrolled as a student, did my PhD, and when I started my PhD, that is when I realized that academia is my calling and HRM would be the area that I would want to pursue my PhD in.
So, ma'am, now that you have been in this field for so many years, how have you seen HRM evolve and what do you predict for the future?
HRM has evolved a lot from, what you call as hard HRM to what is now known as soft HRM. Initially, the focus was on what we call as personal administration, transaction processes, where people were given little attention. Over the years, it shifted to what is known as human resource management, human resource development, and then strategic human resource management. Then the shift came to, digitalizing HR, which called about human resource information system. But in recent years, the focus has been on technology and human resource management, because one of the greatest paradoxes of human resource management was that you could not quantify HRM and its contribution to RO. So now with the advent of HR analytics, we are able to quantify. And this, I think, will go on for the next few years, where technology-driven human resource management will take precedence. But I see a major shift taking place in the people-centric HRM practices, where organizations not only focus on agility and efficiency, but on the well-being of their employees. So initiatives for employee well-being, employee engagement, diversity, equity, and inclusion are important mandates. So these are all, critical agendas for HRM in the days to come. And in the forthcoming years, I think AI, ML, technology processes will be important, but at the same time, creating customized experiences for the employee, managing the gig economy, and well-being and wellness of employees will be at the forefront.
So, ma'am, you are closely associated with MASOC, and MASOC is the Management and Student Services Organization at Department of Management, which is here. So, ma'am, we are being the head for over 7 years. Could you tell us a little bit about the structure of MASOC and what exactly MASOC does?
So MASOC, as you rightly said, is the abbreviation for Management Association, and it is entirely a student-run entity, and my role is not the head, but I'm just a facilitator there. It's a clear example of what we call a self-managed team. So it is the overarching body under which you have the different clubs and the executive committee, which is the governing body of MASOC. The structure of MASOC is, again, you have a president, a vice president, a secretary, a joint secretary, followed by a treasurer and head of industry linkage and sponsorship club. Each of these individuals are collectively and individually responsible for the various clubs under MASOC, about which I'll talk a little later. So MASOC tries to represent the interests of the students by organizing the annual fest, by reaching out to the alumni and industry experts, by reaching out to the alumni to carry forward the legacy of the department, by reaching out to industry experts to get a broader perspective about various business advances that's been happening. And overall, collaboratively, they try to create a enriching student experience for all the students who are there while they are doing their MBA, so that they get hands-on experience about what they learn in the class, whether it is about leadership, whether it is about addressing real-world challenges. So I think, when people are a part of MASOC and its club, and at the end of their MBA, they come out as true professionals because they have learned a lot by doing.
So, ma'am, there are, like you mentioned, there are a lot of clubs and committees in the department. So, ma'am, could you give us a brief about how these committees, what are their roles and how they shape the students' academic life here?
So there are three important committees. The first one is EXCOM, for PLACECOM, and Student Faculty Council. At the outset, I would urge you not to think of these committees as independent bodies, but a collaborative system that exists within the larger ecosystem that is the Department of Management at BITS Pilani. Though each of them have their individual roles to play, it is important that they collaborate with each other. For example, PLACECOM closely works with the centralized placement unit in developing strategies for placement of our MBA students. They also work for the summer internships. Apart from that, create mock interviews, and overall, see to it that the students are placement ready, and they have been doing a phenomenal job. Executive Committee, which is the governing body of under MASOC, is basically there to conduct the flagship event interface. But beyond that, they ensure that they represent student interest in multiple ways. And in fact, if you look at it, each club, when I'm talking about the self-managed club, right from ideation to implementation to the execution of all the events is done by EXCOM. And they have been doing a wonderful job too. Student Faculty Council acts as a liaison between the faculty members, the department, and the students, bringing forth, important issues, helping in curriculum redesign, and integrating the interests of both the students and faculty. And the nature of job that they do is very, very important to establish that kind of a connect between faculty and students. So, and what I would like to again re-emphasize here is that all of them are doing important functions. What is important is that, they collaborate so that, we can create a better experience and outcomes for students and faculty at the department.
So, ma'am, there are a lot of exciting activities that are happening throughout the semester. Do you want to touch up upon all the various clubs that are organizing these?
Yeah. So again, I would give the entire credit to the student body for organizing all these exciting events. Under the MASSOC, there are 10 clubs. Some of these are core functional area clubs, and some of these are, supportive or the clubs that do all the good work at the back end. So we have the operations club, which is Vishwakarma. We have Phenomaniac, the finance club, Manav, the HR club, marketing, the Vishwas club. Apart from that, you have the tech geeks club, which focuses on activities related to analytics. Plus, we have what is known as the Industry Linkage Club, the Sponsorship Club, the Alumni Relations Club, and the Media Relations Club, who do a splendid job of promoting all that is happening in BITS Pilani. The Sponsorship Club raises the funds for Interface, and also, the Media Relations Club, if you look at it, designing the merchandise and all of that, they do it. The clubs put together, apart from organizing the flagship event Interface, they also have guest lectures and workshops which they do. So put together, this enriches the student experience. Not only they learn hands-on skills on leadership and other aspects, but also it creates a very vibrant student community where people are able to focus on their areas of interest, because every student of MBA is a part of one or more clubs. Apart from this, it creates a kind of a social engagement which leads to a sense of community and bonding. Sometimes they also engage in outreach activities which leads them to, do their bit for the community and social responsibility thereby, enhancing their confidence and self-worth, and extracurricular learning through guest workshops and lectures. So, overall, it leads to what these clubs do, and rather what the students do in this club leads to their holistic development, and also it gives them a snapshot of what it would be if they were to go to the real world after completing their MBA program.
So ma'am, Interface is the flagship event of the Department of Management, and now it is stepping into the 47th edition. That is such an incredible thing. Ma'am, could you tell us a little bit how is the vibe of the fest and what all students can expect when they step into the campus for attending Interface events?
So, as you rightly said, Interface is the flagship event of the Department of Management. And I would also want to bring to your attention that, we have the only department that we have a separate event for any particular department. And this year we'll be organizing the 47th edition of Interface. First and foremost, as I always keep repeating, it is entirely student driven, right from ideation to implementation to generating the funds either through merchandise sales or sponsorship. It's the students who do everything. So it is actually a test of their leadership skills, their networking skills, their collaboration, their problem solving and team working skills. And as I told you, it's a India Management Fest. We have been having representations from reputed colleges all over India, from the IIMs to the IITs to the new age institutions. They organize exciting events for over 2.5 days, which includes virtual stock trading, mock auctions, business plan competitions, case study competitions, HR role plays. So, every functional area is being represented, and it's a true test of application of the knowledge that the students have learned. And it's always a very, very festive atmosphere when other participating colleges come here, and there's a lot of interaction which happens with the industry people who give a workshop. So overall, it is the kind of a test of what the students have learned, putting it into practice, and the end is always very, very satisfying because it leads to a sense of accomplishment, and there are a lot of key takeaways. So the vibe, as I would say, all of you have to participate wholeheartedly in Interface, at least 1 year, because that gives you a sense of accomplishment and a sense of ownership. And at the end of it, I'm sure the learning surpasses all the classroom learning put together.
So ma'am, you have been coordinating the pilot program here at the department. Would you like to let everybody know what exactly is a pilot program and how it has helped so many students over the years?
So PILOT stands for Personality Integration, Leadership Orientation and Teamwork. This program is an in-house leadership development program which was developed initially as a certificate program and now is an audit course that is offered not only to the students of MBA but also any other student who is studying at BITS Pilani. This aligns with the Department of Management's values of creating impactful leader. Not only that, it also aligns with the NEP, that is National Educational Policy's mandate, where higher education institutions must focus on higher order thinking skills, namely your leadership skills and other skills. I strongly believe that your technical skills only will fetch you a job. But for you to grow in your job and thrive and prosper, you must have amazing behavioral skills, or what is commonly referred to as soft skills. So the pilot program, which is offered as 4 modules, focuses on 4 important aspects. Personality integration. I don't say personality development because every personality is amazing. How do you actually, harness your personality characteristics for your growth in the organization is what we teach. Then we have what is known as leadership orientation, exposing yourself to your leadership style and how you can manage others. Teamwork, how effectively you can contribute to teams, and communication, which is a very important requirement in organizations today. So we used what is known as team-based pedagogy and active learning. Through hands-on activities, we try to inculcate these skills in students. So all the students who have undergone the pilot program have seen a marked difference in their emotional or EI skills, leadership skills, communication, which has helped them either cracking the interview or when they've taken up a job, collaborating and networking and coexisting with their workers, because now they understand the importance of influencing style, networking, so what is known as conflict resolution. So the basic tips is what be there. So it's more based on self-understanding, self-reflection, and it's students who, through this process of understanding, they discover a newer themselves, and that is the objective. As an extension of this pilot program, we have done what is known as the WeFi, which is a leadership program for the women faculty of the institution. We have also done a workshop called SAIL, which is for the research scholar of the department. We've also done what is known as WeReach, which is an outreach program for the underrepresented and underprivileged government girls' school in and around Pilani. So this is just at the nascent stage, and in the long run, we hope to offer it as a full-fledged faculty development program as well as a student leadership program.
So, ma'am, I think we had a lot of discussion today on very related to academics and HR field. Now, I want to know what is your favorite spot to hang out in the campus. Also, ma'am, you are involved in so many academic activities throughout the day. What do you do to unwind after your day is over?
So first, to answer your question about the favorite spot in the campus, I think Pilani, it's a very small campus, and I think every spot is a favorite spot. But to mention specially, I would say Saraswati Temple. So if you've noticed Saraswati Temple, it is not only temple for Goddess Saraswati, the temple of learning, but you have statues and sculptures of all those people who have contributed to learning, whether it is people engaged in scientists, spirituality, etc. So especially when I go down and sit on the stairs at the Saraswati Temple, I feel that I'm a part of these people who are trying to make some kind of a positive impact, and it deeply relaxes me. So that is the answer for your first question. The second question, how do I unwind? I'm a very family-oriented person. So for me, after a long day, go back to my home, spend time with my family. Of course, now my children are out of Pilani, so connecting with them over a call, talking to my mother. And most importantly, I love cooking. In fact, after retirement, what I've planned for is to start some kind of a tiffin service where I can cater to the requirements of a small population. So, cooking the dishes that my family likes, my children like, that kind of, it relaxes me and detoxes me, I should say.
How many favorite dish?
I do good South Indian cooking, and I don't know if people might have heard, there's a sweet dish called Akara Vadisal, which is supposed to be my signature dish.
So, ma'am, thank you. This session was very insightful. Coming to the last question, do you have any advice for the current and the upcoming batch that is going to join soon?
I think this is the best time of your life that you're having here at the campus. So what I would tell you is that have that learning orientation and mindset. Don't ever stop learning. Learning may not be in the classroom, it can be outside the classroom. Connect with your faculty, connect with your other students so that you know what's happening in each other's life. Most importantly, what is important is that you engage in self-reflection, feedback, try to understand where you can improve, and also embrace change. Get out of your comfort zone. Only then can you face the challenges ahead. We are there to support you, to help you, to facilitate whatever we can from our side, but you must reach out to us. So the only advice I have for the current and the future batches is that make maximum use of this opportunity that is given to you. There is no age, to learn or to aspire something in your life. But having said all that, there is no substitute for hard work. There is no shortcut to success. Put in the hard work and I'm sure the results will be amazing. All the very best to all of you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today and giving so many good insights to all the students and people who are watching our show. Thank you, audience, for tuning in. If you like our content, please like, share, and comment. And we'll see you in the next episode of Talk Shabda.